Hi, Paul Mascetta here with InfluenceMaster.com, and I want to talk to you about two important pieces of information that you should know about becoming more successful and becoming more influential and more persuasive, okay? The first thing that I want to talk about is the power of information, and more importantly, the power of exclusive information, and then how you can combine that with the law of scarcity to really impact your levels of success in influence and persuasion. Now, first of all, I think people today generally drastically underestimate the power of information and how valuable the information that they may have can be to other people. And the example that I always give is that information, the power of information can change in a moment, okay? You could be on your way to a job interview where, your tardiness is probably the most important thing on the boss's mind. The new boss has told you, whatever you do, don't be late for this interview. And so the last thing you want to do is be late for the interview because you know that'll shatter any chance of you getting hired. Well, on your way to the job interview, your GPS battery dies on you and you realize that you don't have the charger and you can't get any reception on your phone, so you can't Google the directions. So you find yourself in a situation where you're now lost and you don't know where to go and time is running out, okay? And so what you do is you begin to look side to side to see if you could see some cars or other people that you could ask for directions, but everyone that's driving by is just going too fast. And now more time is running out. So you begin driving to a gas station, and as you're driving to that gas station, you are hoping that somebody in that gas station can give you the information and the directions that you need to get to your destination. You walk in, you ask someone if they know where you need to go, and they give you the directions. At that very moment, okay, your circumstances and the urgency by which you need that information are so high that you would probably be willing to pay that person for that information if they were bold enough to ask for it. But at the very least, that person looks like a hero to you, and all they did was give you public information that a lot of the people in the neighborhood probably already knew, and it's information that you had only moments ago. But now the value of that information drastically increases because of the circumstances which caused you to lose that information. The point is this: information becomes valuable when people don't have it, okay? And you might be falsely assuming that any information that you have, you might assume that everyone else has. The key is to figure out what information you have that can be valuable to others, and then find a target group of people or an audience that are in need of that information, okay? As simple and as easy as it might sound, and as natural as it may seem that everyone should have all types of information, the reality is that most people don't. And if you can be a provider of information that will help other people, you will greatly serve them, and they will eventually pay you for it, okay? And that's how you can make money from giving people information. Well, now I want to talk about how you can use information in the influence process and intensify the results that you get by giving information by using something called the law of scarcity. And what the law of scarcity tells us is that the desire for something increases the moment that it's taken away, okay? That's the way that the human mind is wired. We tend to want things more when they become less available to us, okay? Nothing demonstrates this point clearer than a car company by the name of General Motors in 2003. They had one line of automobile that was failing drastically. They didn't have any money to support any marketing efforts, so they decided that they were going to pull this product line called Oldsmobile off the market entirely. They were going to cut their losses, stop manufacturing this automobile, and be done with it. Well, what happened? As soon as they announced that they were going to discontinue the line, the product sales shot through the roof. Why? The law of scarcity kicks in. People tend to think, hey, I'm never going to be able to buy an Oldsmobile again, or maybe if I buy an Oldsmobile and it's not manufactured anymore, the value of it's going to go up. The bottom line, people tend to want things more when they become less available, okay? Another study was done by researchers on wholesale beef buyers, okay, where they told them that there was going to be a shortage in Australian beef due to weather conditions, and this caused a huge spike in orders. In fact, orders actually doubled from wholesale meat buyers because they were afraid that they were no longer going to be able to get their hands on Australian beef. But, okay, listen closely, when they coupled that with the fact that the information came from an exclusive source that was not available to the general public, the orders increased by almost 600%. What does that tell us? It tells us, one, that the law of scarcity states that the less available something is, the more we want it. But it also says that the demand increases exponentially when the information that we are getting about this certain product or service comes from an exclusive source, okay? So if whatever you're telling someone about something and how it's becoming more scarce is now coming from an exclusive source, or it's coming from a source of information that's not available to the general public, the desire to have it will grow even more. Here are 4 simple ways that you can use the law of scarcity in your influence and persuasion tactics. The first thing that you can do is you can point out potential loss. People are motivated by pleasure and pain. People are motivated to avoid pain and to gain pleasure, but they'll actually do more to avoid pain than they will to seek pleasure. People do not like pain, and loss equals pain. Loss of time, loss of relationships, and loss of money equals pain. If you can show your target what they have to lose by not getting involved with your product or service today, you will heighten their desire to want to buy your product or service. The second thing that you can do is you can point out how there are limited space or quantities of what you have to order. There is only a certain amount, and so that certain amount that you have could run out at any moment. This creates the urgency. It creates the perception that scarcity is going to happen at some point, and it will again prompt your target to want to buy. The third thing that you can do is you can set deadlines. People need deadlines, okay? The fact of the matter is that if your credit card bill is due on the 15th of the month, most people pay it on the 14th or the 15th of the month because they know that they have to. Without a deadline, the mind is left to wander and do whatever it chooses to do. If you give someone a deadline and specifically point out to them the amount of time that they have to make a decision, they will react to it. And the last thing that you can do is you can restrict freedom. This is something in sales that we call the takeaway close. In your presentation, you are trying to sell someone something. You are offering them something, okay? It creates this dynamic between you and them where you are offering them something and they are deciding whether or not they want it. If you completely flip the script and take away what you're offering, you change the dynamic. The dynamic goes from you offering them and them deciding to you deciding whether or not you want to offer it to them. This in turn increases their desire to want to have it because you've induced scarcity. You've taken away the opportunity for them to have what you want. This is the takeaway close. You have to be very careful when you use it, and you have to make sure that you've built the emotional level up in your target to the point that they really want it. Otherwise, if you do the takeaway close, they might just get up and walk away because you've now let them out of the conversation and they've found a back door to run out. But if you've done your job right and you've increased their emotional engagement during the presentation and then take away what you're offering, you will change the dynamic and cause them to want it even more. So what did we learn today? First, information is very valuable, and right now you could, in fact, I'm not going to say you could, you have information that other people need. You just have to find those people that need it, okay? When you do, make sure your information is perceived as exclusive, and if need be, make it scarce. Make your information valuable by showing people that it could disappear at any moment, that it came from an exclusive source, that there's a deadline to receive it, or that information could disappear at some point. If you can do this, you will not only become a seller of information and become someone where you get paid for what you know, but you will also increase the amount of money that you get for what you know. Once again, Paul Mascetta here with InfluenceMaster.com, wishing you a great day.